81% of customers say a positive customer experience increases the chance of them making another purchase. If you want to learn how to make your customer experience golden for your clients, listen to today's episode. Lady bosses, are you working even after putting the kids to bed but still not getting results?
Are you tired of spending money on ads that aren't getting engagement?
Do you feel burdened that you aren't fulfilling your purpose in life because you are so consumed with work?
I'm your host, Brooke Boltz. I'm an attorney and founder of Boltz Legal. I started my business and in 1 year was bringing in 7 figures and am now bringing in multi-7 figures.
And I'm your co-host, Rachel Boltz, owner of Boltz Media. I've helped many businesses build their online presence and increase their revenue through digital marketing.
Want to hear how we did it?
We are here to help you achieve your goals personally, professionally, and spiritually.
So kick off your high heels, sit back, and let's ignite that passion.
We're Miss Biz, where we're putting the Miss in biz.
Let's get biz done.
One of the worst customer service experiences I had was at a fast food restaurant, and my children were really small. We had just went swimming, and we went to this restaurant, and it took over 40 minutes for us to get our food, despite me continuously asking the staff. And it wasn't until I asked for my money back and threatened to leave that they actually provided me with the lunch.
I just thought of a negative customer service experience that I had also. It was a friend of mine's birthday. And so there was a group of women who were getting together to go have a spa day at this really nice spa. And we had to call in advance to reserve our massage therapist. And in doing so, one of the women was bringing her 16-year-old daughter, and she told them on the phone her daughter was 16, so they were asking her, do you want a male or female masseuse? And she said, I'd like a female for my daughter because she's a minor. And so we got there the morning of, everyone's ready in their swimsuits because we were going to do the pool experience, the hot tub, all these things. We go to check in and they say, how old is the minor? And she says 16. And they said, oh, she's not allowed to come in.
I would be so upset as a mother, especially if it had been clarified ahead of time, to be told that during the data service.
So there's a whole group of women who are here to celebrate a birthday. We've driven from about an hour to get to this particular spa, and they said, you can't come in. And so everyone was just very distraught about this experience, but not only that they wouldn't let us in, they wouldn't give us our money back. They said we could rebook for another day without any cancellation fee, but wouldn't give us our money back. And I was just sitting outside, and all of the women were one by one talking to the manager, trying to convince him to give us our money back. Because outside of it being a birthday get-together, no one's going to just drive an hour on some random day to come get a massage and hang out at the spa. This was a special event. And so everyone tried. The manager wouldn't do it. So I went in and talked to him, did some legal conversation, ended up getting our money back. And actually, I can tell you how I did that, too, because that might be of interest to some people. I said, look, these people are fans of this spa. Every time there's someone's birthday, they come. This is their favorite way to celebrate. If you don't give them their money back, they will never be here again. But if you do give them their money back, they will let bygones be bygones and will understand it was a misunderstanding this time, and they will leave with having had a negative experience, but not so negative that they wouldn't come back. And they will come back again the next time they have a celebration. So how do you want them to leave? Leave never coming back again, or leave just recognizing there's a misunderstanding and still willing to come back? And so he agreed to give the money back. And so we did get our money back, but it was definitely a negative experience. and something that has stood out in my mind for quite a while.
And that, folks, that is the reason why you need to hire Boltz Legal for all of your legal needs.
So today is going to be a podcast full of statistics because this is an important topic. I think that we all generally think, yeah, we have a good customer experience. Our clients are happy. We treat them well. But are we doing as much as we could do? Are there ways that we could improve? I'm a believer that we can always be improving. So we've got a lot of statistics today. So hope that you enjoy that. Might want to write some of these down or rewind and listen to them again. But why is customer experience important? I think we all agree on that, but I don't know if we realize how important it is.
So 88% of buyers say experience matters as much as the company's product or services. And 81% of customers say that a positive customer experience increases the chance of them making another purchase. So this goes hand in hand with what you had just mentioned with your experience at the spa. If someone has a negative experience, there's a probability that they might not do business with you in the future.
Yes, but even more importantly, they'll come back. If they
Yes.
have a positive experience, they will come back, which is what we all want. 61% of consumers will pay at least 5% more if they know they will get a good customer service experience. Do you have an example of that?
Yeah, the first company that I think of is Publix. So when I compare Publix to, like, let's say Walmart or even Aldi's, you are always going to be ending up paying more at Publix than pretty much anywhere else. But why do people shop at Publix? It's because of their customer experience. You know, when you go to Publix, if you need assistance, somebody's not only going to be available to help you, but they're going to do it with a smile on their face and try to go the extra mile to see if there's anything else that you need. Even if you are checking out, they always ask you, would you like help out to your car? So they are always going the extra mile to make shopping a pleasure.
And Publix, too, always part of the customer service experience or the customer experience is about the products that you're offering. So they have a lot of really good brands. They make sure that their produce is fresh and in good condition. They make things easy in terms of ordering your subs or pre-made things that you can grab quickly on the go. They do a lot to have a first-class customer experience. That is a reason why I have continuously shopped at Publix, even though I know it's definitely more expensive than other options. So the next part of this analysis is to look at yourself and say, well, how are we doing with our customer experience? And again, I think we all would say we're doing good, we're doing fine. But how do consumers see us as what we're doing? And so there's some other statistics on that.
Yeah, 54% of consumers say that brands treat customer service as an afterthought, meaning that they don't really think about it until after the fact. And, you know, you should really be making sure that your customer service experience is great from the initial first impression until the very end and even thereafter. They also say that 49% of customers had more bad customer service experiences in the past year compared to the year before. And that is a statistic from Amazon. So that's showing that customer service is getting worse as time evolves.
Yes, and 56% of consumers say most companies treat them like numbers. And that's certainly true of many brands out there. So these are things to think about. Are your customers coming away thinking they're just a number?
I mean, I felt that way after visiting certain locations or certain businesses. I felt like, well, they just want my money. That's all they really care about. They don't really care about who I am as a person. And there's a lot of different factors that come into play. Like I know, for example, doctors, right? They are so overbooked that they really don't have a lot of time to spend more than sometimes 15, 20 minutes per patient. But you have to think about, okay, well, what else can I do if I have no control of how I'm being scheduled? What else can I do to make the customer know that I care about them?
Right. There's ways, even if you have limited time, to still make the customer feel important and feel appreciated. And this is a complaint too of big law firms, right? That they're just a number. They're just trying to make money off my case. They don't care about me and what I am going through. And this is a big argument or big advertising explanation that I give a lot of times for my smaller firm is that you have more of a personalized customer experience. You are not just a number of one among thousands of other cases.
Yeah, it's so true. You have to remember that your customers are the reason why you are able to exist and have the type of life that you have. So it's important to make sure that you let them know how much you appreciate them throughout the entire process, not just thanks, see you next month type of philosophy.
62% of companies don't respond to customer service emails.
That's ridiculous. When I saw that statistic, I was blown away. Like, that is more than half of companies who don't even respond to customer service complaints.
How many emails have you sent to Facebook that never got responded to?
Well, it's so funny because I was just thinking about that, but yeah, numerous.
Yeah, when I got hacked out of Facebook, I emailed them so many times, and some of them didn't get responded to, some of them did, but none of them were very helpful. The average response time for a customer service request is 12 hours and 10 minutes. So if that's an email response, I don't think that's bad. But if that's sitting on the phone, waiting on hold for 12 hours, that's not a great customer service experience.
That's like calling an insurance company. That's how long you wait.
Yeah.
On the phone.
Calling a lot of helplines.
Yeah, but still, I mean, that to me, and I think that there's ways now, especially with automation, that we're able to, as business owners, kind of modify that response time, because if somebody submits a particular type of form on your website, then you can have it programmed to send a certain response, just confirming receipt, to let the customer know that it's been received and acknowledge them.
Yeah, I do appreciate getting an email at least telling me that they got it, because at least I know they got it. And then once I receive that, I don't mind waiting a while for the actual response.
If you enjoy the Miss Biz podcast, but still have questions or need advice, we have some exciting news for you. Join us for Miss Biz Connects. Miss Biz Connects is a weekly 1-hour Zoom call on Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
This is 1 hour each week dedicated to you. We want to meet you and put our brains together to help you grow personally, professionally, and spiritually.
To access the meeting link, visit us on our social media pages at Miss Biz Podcast, or send us an email to missbizpod@gmail.com.
Join us this Friday and let's grow the Miss Biz Nation.
Another statistic says that 65% of consumers have needed to follow up more than once to get their question resolved. That's ridiculous.
Well, I know I've done that many times, having to follow up over and over and over again to get something resolved. And so, even though we think we might be doing a great job, do any of these statistics apply to you? Are these resonating? Are alarm bells going off in your head saying, yeah, my customers probably have said some of those same things? And I was also surprised when we go in this next set of expectations that customers actually have pretty high expectations for what they're expecting from us. Some of them we might even say are a little bit unrealistic. But in general, customers want convenience and they want connection. So even though they may feel like a number, that's not what they want. They want to feel connected to the brand. And so here's some of the statistics.
52% of consumers expect to get their question answered within 1 hour of posting it on a brand's digital channel.
That's one of those unrealistic ones, I think.
Yes. Especially like if they're talking about a brand's social media channel, like it is very difficult to stay on top of all of the different messages and comments that come in, especially if you're getting a bunch of them flooded all at once, within an hour.
Right. If there's like a chat bot type thing on the website that you can communicate with right away and it's sending responses to you, then you could probably get a response in an hour if the chat bot's able to answer it. Sometimes they'll then say, okay, you have to speak to a actual person, and then that can have a hold time or a wait time that's much longer. Or if you call on the phone and you can speak to someone directly without waiting for too long, you might be able to get your question answered in an hour. But in general, if you're sending someone an email, to expect an answer that resolves your problem in an hour probably isn't realistic. But that's 52% of consumers who have that expectation. The good news is that 93% of customers expect a brand to reply to them within 24 hours. So almost everyone expects to have a reply within 24 hours, which I think is more realistic. That's my policy at my law firm, is that every client email, phone call, or whatever has to be returned within 24 business hours. I think that's more realistic, and I'm glad to see that that's the expectation of most customers.
And there's also automated responses that you can set up with your like Messenger app on Facebook, for example, and Instagram as well. You can have an automated response that is personalized from you that says, thank you for your inquiry. We'll reach out to you momentarily, or as soon as possible. So there are different tools, and you can set the same thing up for your email as well. If you know that you're going to be in a meeting, you can set that up so that at least they're getting some type of confirmed receipt or response.
These numbers, though, I think are more expectations of people to actually have their question answered. So those automated things are great. That gets them an immediate acknowledgement that you got it, but I think people are still expecting to have their substantive question answered within the 24 hours.
73% of customers expect companies to understand their unique needs and expectations. So this I can understand, because every individual, every business is different, and there's going to a lot of times be a unique strategy that's applied depending on the industry, obviously. So this, I think, is really important and should take place during those initial discovery calls to really find out, like, okay, what is your goal, and what are some limitations that you're encountering now, and then figure out a strategy to overcome that and reach their goals.
83% of customers expect to interact with someone immediately upon contact. So this one was kind of gave me some pause, because I was thinking to myself, well, my phone system does have a push 1 to talk to her, push 2 for this type of case. Like it's an automated system that takes people to different different contacts. But I was asking myself, if 83% of people want to interact with someone immediately upon contact, maybe that's not the best solution. Maybe that's something that we do after hours, but during business hours, someone needs to be picking up the phone to answer those calls. Because when I thought about it, there have been times where I get to one of those automated machines and I got to push this and push that, and I'll just hang up and say, forget it. I'll call someone else, because it's too convoluted and confusing to get through to anyone. So as good as automation can be, it appears it can also be a deterrent.
I agree with this 100%. I got new health insurance at the beginning of the year, and I have been trying for weeks to get a hold of their new pediatrician to set up a new patient appointment. Every time that I've called, it always says, press 1 to make a new appointment, press 9 to leave a voicemail, and you could never speak with a human. And I actually said this morning, if I can't get a hold of them early in the morning, or they don't call me back today, I'm going to call my insurance company and find a different pediatrician because I need to get their appointments made. And so that is so important to be able to have that human interaction. It really is. And I think nowadays too, like, we're just so over it. Every time we call someone, we have to listen through this sometimes minute or two list of options before we can get where we want to go.
I've had times where I'm listening to those options and I get distracted by something else.
Oh, I hate that.
And then I'm like, oh, shoot, I don't know which one to push. I got to listen to it again. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, because that's how short my attention span is now. I'm even just to sit there and listen through the whole menu, my attention span is going on to other thoughts.
That's because you're trying to get biz done. You're trying to multitask. So I don't really blame you there. But yes, I can understand where that statistic came from. So 83% of customers expect to resolve complex problems through a single person. This to me is a really high expectation because when you think about it logically, your customer service representative, they're more than likely not going to have all the answers for everything. There's going to be an IT specialist who, will help with the technical problems. There's going to be someone who in the billing department that's going to be responsible for the coding and the billing. And then there's going to be someone else who will have the information to help you if it's something in their assembly line or, the status of their product. So I think that that's a really high expectation to have the idea that one person is going to be able to take care of everything.
And that one person is going to be the person who happens to answer the phone.
Right.
So I think that's a high expectation too. I think that between the person who answers the phone, if they can transfer it to one additional person who can answer all of those questions, I think that would be also acceptable to most people. At least that would be fine by me. What's troublesome is when you sit there, explain your problem, and then they say, oh, I can't help you, I need to transfer you to someone else. And then that other person, you explain them the problem, oh, I can't help you, I need to transfer you to someone else. Then you're just getting transferred around 3 or 4 times.
Yes, that is very frustrating.
Right. So 80% of consumers are more likely to buy from a brand that offer them a more personalized experience.
I can agree with that because people want to feel unique. They want to feel valued, and they want to know that they're important. So by providing something that isn't cookie cutter and something that is unique to them and thoughtful on their behalf, I think is very meaningful, especially in today's society.
And all of these statistics came from an article I found from Forbes, but they were different. They were different studies from different people. So that last one was from Freshworks. There are just a bunch of different studies that Forbes compiled on their website that all were really meaningful and relevant to our businesses. So the next step is to do a self-assessment on your business. And we put together some questions to help you to do that, to think about the customer experience and how well you're doing now and identify areas you can improve upon. So the first question in this assessment is, how would you rate your business's current client experience on a scale of 1 to 10? How about you?
I would say about an 8. I would say it's about an 8. It could always use improvement. I feel like even if you're a 10, there's a way to go to that 15. So I would definitely say an 8. And I love that you mentioned the self-assessment because a lot of times we get we get surveys in the mail, which surveys are another good tool where you can kind of see outside of the self-assessment how your customers really feel about your products or services. But I think it's also very important to have that introspective look into what your customers are going through.
I actually would rate mine as an 8 as well. I took this assessment before, probably a year ago, and I rated my customer experience as a 7 at that time. But since that time, I've come up with some new ideas and things that I've incorporated over the year. So I think I'm more of an 8, maybe an 8.5 at this point. I don't think I would ever give myself a 10 because I think everyone always has room for improvement. But I think I'm at an 8, 8.5, maybe even close to a 9 at this point with the new things that I've incorporated since I started doing the self-assessment.
So what made you give that rating?
Well, when I took this assessment the first time, like I said, probably a year ago, I recognized that we were doing a lot to try to do a good job on the client's cases, but there weren't these kind of things that really stood out. Like Jesse Cole, we've talked about, there weren't these you wouldn't believe moments. There weren't these raving fans so much outside of just, we weren't really standing apart other than just doing a good job for people. So I did some things like we made a video for when new clients are introduced to the firm, because everything nowadays is done remotely. It's done over the phone. And so we send people a video now that is me introducing them to the firm and walking them through the office. They get to see the staff quickly, and we tell them 3 facts about Bolts Legal. So it's probably a minute or 2 video, but it takes them through the office so they can physically see there is an office. We are legit. We are here. These are the people who work here. And it's just kind of an introduction to the firm, maybe give them a little bit of more comfort to see that we have a professional office and to see the people, see their faces and things. So we implemented that. We implemented another video at the end of their case that's congratulations on settling your case that we send them. We started sending a gift when their case is settled. We started sending a welcome gift when they sign up with us. So we just incorporated these different things into the case handling process to just try to improve the customer experience overall.
So the next question is, are you an obvious choice over your direct competitors?
I think so, but I don't know. It's hard to say. If I think about my direct competitors who are here locally in my town, they've had their firm established for more years than I have. But aside from that, I think that we get great results and we really treat our customers as our top priority. They truly are our top priority. Like, I know that in my heart that they're my top priority. I don't know that the other law firm doesn't have them as their top priority. They probably are as well, but I know that I'm at the stage in my career where I'm really trying to grow and really constantly trying to improve. And so I think that we are an obvious choice. Like, if I were to sit down and look at their website, look at my website, look at their social media, look at mine, have a phone call with them, have a phone call for me, with me, I would choose myself. But it's hard. I think there's also, too, when it comes to law firms, personalities that mesh better with certain firms or certain people. So there are certain people who are definitely going to resonate with me better, and the other law firms have very different personnel, completely different people. So there will certainly be some people who resonate better with that law firm and those lawyers.
You know we're all about that case, no trouble. All about that case, no trouble. All about that case, no trouble. All about that case.
At Bolts Legal, we are all about your case. Text or call to schedule a free consultation for all your legal needs. boltslegal.com.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Like, there to me, everybody is different and unique. So what works best for one person or one company might not work best for the other, even if you both equally do a great job in what you do. So there's a lot of different factors that come into play. I know with me, there are things that I do very well that other people in my field maybe don't focus on as much. And so there are different strengths that I have. But then there are also other digital marketing companies that are very good at what they do too. So I do know that I care about my clients a lot. And I think that shows to people, especially when you start to build that emotional rapport and them knowing that you care and you're willing to go the extra mile for them, regardless of whether you get paid or not, because I do a lot of things for free. If somebody needs like tech advice or they're like, I don't know how to do this, Rachel, I'll make a video and show them how to do it and not expect anything in return. And I don't think a lot of other businesses do that, but I do think that there are some businesses that do.
Sure. The next question for this self-assessment is, what made you give yourself that rating? We already kind of talked about that. And what, if anything, gives us an edge over our competitors? We kind of talked through that as well. So, but as you think about this, am I the obvious choice? Maybe a good exercise would be to sit down someone who doesn't know you or your business and doesn't know your competitors either. Show them, let them look through your website, your social media, and then your competitors, and say, who would be your choice after looking through these videos and looking at these things, and why? I think that could be really educational to understand what is attracting them to the business that they choose, because after all, their first impression is generally going to come from online. And then next would be, if they attempted to make contact with you, how easy and convenient was that accessibility to you.
I think another important tool that you could do in addition to this would be to do a competitive analysis. If you own a restaurant, you can go to another restaurant and see what that experience is like from a customer standpoint versus your customer experience. Or if you own a spa, go have a massage somewhere else and see how they would treat you, not knowing who you are, and see how your staff is treating your clients. So that is a very useful tool, and that's actually should be part of your business plan, is doing that competitive analysis to figure out, what are your strengths, what are their weaknesses, what type of advantages do your competitors have over you, and what kind of gaps are there in the industry, so that you can capitalize on those.
That just gave me an idea for a social media post that we could do, or anyone could do, is tell me about the best experience you've had with a law firm, or tell me about your biggest complaint about working with law firms. People will comment and let you know what they liked or disliked about their experiences with different businesses, and you can learn from that.
Yes.
So the next question in the self-assessment is, would you recommend your business to a close family or friend? Why or why not? So for this one, you have to kind of put on your neutral hat and look at your business from an outside perspective and think, if I were to, would I want to refer my own business to somebody else? And if you say no, you definitely need to.
Yes.
You've got some homework to do if you say no, because you certainly want to feel comfortable referring your own business to other people.
Yeah, so if your mom wouldn't have a good experience there, then chances are that strangers who don't know you at all, they're not going to have a good experience either. So another question to ask yourself is, think about the absolute best customer service you have ever received. What brand or company provided that experience and what made it exceptional?
For me, I spent a lot of time thinking about this. It was actually not as easy to come up with a really exceptional experience. I mean, Disney comes to mind, of course, because Disney just, from the moment you walk in, is really trying to make you have the best customer service experience. But I think that's a good example for everyone. Are we treating people like Disney? But aside from Disney, the one that came to mind for me was CRISP, which is a coaching program for lawyers that I participate in Atlanta. When I go to their workshops or I go to their conferences, they anticipate your needs and have everything there accessible and ready for you. As an example, in the back of the room, they have a charging station with every type of phone charger known to man. So as lawyers, we're always on our phone, our phones are always dying, so to be able to go right there, plug in my phone is like amazing. It's just great. They have coolers there in the conference room with drinks that you can grab, all types of drinks, energy drinks, water drinks, flavored water, anything that you could imagine. They have coffee stations set up. They serve us lunch and breakfast there so that we don't have to leave to eat and come back. When you go into the restroom, they have mints and mouthwash and dental floss and deodorant, like all these little toiletries and things there in the bathroom. And they greet you at the door. They always have a welcome gift for you, along with a binder with the presentation materials for that day. It's just everything is so well put together. The staff are all dressed in ways in their uniforms or whatever, so that you can identify them and ask them any questions that you have. They're accessible and available and around. The room is just really well put together. You can see the screen, like just everything is planned out, thought ahead, and they are really looking at, from the moment you step in the door till the moment you leave, that you have a positive experience. So contrast that with other conferences you go to that maybe are at a hotel or something like that, where you walk in and you're like, I don't know where to go. You're asking different people where to go. You get there, you can't find the registration booth. You stand in a long line to register, and then you're just kind of on your own. Like, we went to a festival recently for our podcast, and it was lunchtime, and we asked several people, hey, where can we get some food for lunch? And nobody seemed to know. And so we wandered around this hotel and eventually found a place to get a sandwich, but that would never have happened at CRISP.
Right.
They have everything ready to go there for you. So they really do a good job at going above and beyond to give a great experience.
And I think that's the key word right there, is going above and beyond and anticipating any type of potential conflict and then minimizing that threat before it even occurs.
And I'll say, I've learned from that great customer experience at CRISP, because I came back to the office and said, okay, we're going to now have in our break room area snacks for people. So we have a basket that always has snacks in it.
Is that why you put mints in the bathroom?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I was wondering.
Yes, we put in the bathroom now those same type of things, the little dental floss things and mints. We put some, when I was at CRISP, I took a picture of the stuff they had. I sent it to my office manager and said, can we put something like this in our restrooms of our office? And she was like, that's a great idea. She ordered the stuff, set it up. And so now we are giving that same customer experience. So taking these things you learn and you see and you're impressed by at other businesses and incorporating them can sometimes be very simple. It's just upgrading the bathroom experience.
You know, as you were talking, it reminded me of another experience we had together that was so incredible. Do you remember when we went to Palmer College And we walked in, and out of the numerous amount of people that were there, we walked through the door, and she's like, "Hi, Brooke. Hi, Rachel." And I was like, "Brooke, do you know these cats?" And you're like, "No, I've never met them in my life." So apparently these individuals had looked us up on the internet or something before. When they saw that we had signed up to go, they looked us up so that when we walked through the door, they could greet us by name.
Yes, that was definitely impressive.
And kind of creepy too. Yeah. It was very impressive, but it shows you that even just by doing some additional research ahead of time, you can really give a unique and above and beyond experience during your interactions with clients or even just people in your life.
You don't want to be whack. Cuckoo. We will cut you some slack.
We got you.
You just want to make a big stack.
Ballin'.
Listen to our biz hack.
Have you noticed the trend where people are hiding the total number of reactions on their Facebook post? Well, if you're curious on how to do it, today's Biz Hack is going to tell you exactly how. On your computer, log into Facebook and go to your profile picture in the top right corner. Then select Settings and Privacy, then Settings again. You're going to see a search settings bar that pops up, and you're going to want to type in reaction preferences. From there, you can hide the number of reactions from everyone's post or just your own. If you select your own, other people won't see the total number of reactions under posts you share to your profile. Reaction counts will still appear on your posts in other places, such as groups or on other content like Reels.
So then once you think about what's the absolute best customer service experience you've had, now compare that experience to your own business. How would you rate your business's current client experience in comparison to that above and beyond business that you just thought of? And so that's exactly what I did when I started incorporating putting some stuff in the bathroom and doing some of these other things. These are things that I've incorporated over the last year, which is why my rating has gone up from a 7 to an 8, 8.5, maybe even a 9.
Yeah, I think when I compare myself to that lady at Palmer, like I do a lot of those things already where I'm doing my research on people usually before I even send them an email. So I can kind of understand where they're coming from and what needs that they have, so that while we're communicating, their needs are always top of mind. And it's not just a generalized statistics show, It's personalized for them, their brand, and their voice. However, if I'm comparing myself to Disney or something like that, like I would say that number would drop if I'm comparing myself to, a multi-billion-dollar company.
Right. If Disney is the 10, I think is how you can look at it, or that above and beyond best customer service experience is a 10. How do you rate in comparison to that? So the next part of the self-assessment is a little different. You now have to, and this can be homework because you can sit down and write this out. You have to kind of think about the stages of the customer experience. So for me, it would be like intake from the first time that they contact our office, and then the case handling, like the pre-suit process, the litigation process, and then the settlement process. So you write down those stages of the customer experience, and then you rate each of those phases as a either bright spot, neutral spot, or friction spot. And the goal, of course, is that you want each phase to be a bright spot. So I looked at the intake process and said, is this a bright spot? Is there things that we could improve upon here? One of the things that I identified that wasn't so bright was the fact that it was just phone calls and emails. There wasn't any face-to-face interaction happening. That's why we incorporated the video so that they could see us, see our office. So we moved it up closer to being a bright spot. Same thing with the with the end of the case is over, they're going on their way, they're happy, but can we improve upon that? So you want to write down each phase of the process and then rate it where it is now, and then write down ideas on how you could raise it up further up to being either a bright spot or a brighter spot. There's always ways we can be improving.
And I think that this is a good assessment to do frequently. I don't think it's a one and done type of thing, because as your organization grows or evolves, you're going to want to make sure that you're still setting the bar of where you want to be in terms of your client experience.
And now that you have the awareness of this type of an assessment, your eyes will be opened everywhere you go. If you walk into a new place and you see that they have some really stand out signage or something that really is impressive, or I don't know, whatever it is, wherever you go, you're going to be on the alert now when you see something that looks impressive or improves upon the customer experience, and you can find ways to now incorporate that type of also impressive signage or whatever into your own business.
And it's good to keep a list too when you see these things that you really like that would be beneficial for your business. Create a list. It can be something as simple as you opening a new note on your phone, and when you see it, you just jot it down. And that will kind of help you guide when you go into like your strategic planning for your business, to have ideas of what to incorporate based upon what you saw previously and liked.
And that's a good idea, because I know for me, when I went into the bathroom and I took the picture, I needed to send it right away so that we could make it happen. Because if I didn't act right away, I'm going to leave and I'm going to forget about it. So if you don't have the ability to act on it right then, add it to your list, and then go back to that list and look at it later when you're in a better place to start implementing the list.
And if you like a copy of this self-assessment tool, just email us at missbizpod, that's MSBIZPOD @gmail.com. And if you like this episode, leave us a review. Tell your friends, and let's empower each other together.
Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples. John 13:35.
We appreciate you and are honored to be on this journey with you. We can't wait to help you, to encourage you, and show you how to grow personally, professionally, and spiritually.
If you found Miss Biz helpful, please leave a review and share with others.
You can follow us on social media at Miss Biz Podcast.
For legal questions or services, please visit boltslegal.com.
And for digital marketing needs, please visit boltsmedia.com. Let's get biz done.